In today's biased news, air pollution slashes life expectancy in South Asia, Prigozhin is officially laid to rest, and uprisings across Africa continue. In a report published Tuesday, new data indicates that rising air pollution levels may be responsible for a 5-year drop in life expectancy in South Asia. The subcontinent, one of the world's most polluted regions for decades, has been plagued by air and environmental pollution levels and the associated health consequences without strong government response. The region, which spans Nepal, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, accounts for over half the total life years lost globally to pollution, according to the Air Quality Life Index report from the Energy Policy Institute in Chicago. In light of urbanization and industrialization drives, less environmental legislation, and a lack of workplace safety laws, air pollution levels have gradually reduced air quality to the point that an average person in Bangladesh stands to lose nearly 7 years in life expectancy. Currently, India is responsible for the majority, nearly 60%, of all worldwide pollution growth. In New Delhi, the world's most highly polluted metropolitan area, the average lifespan has suffered a 10-year drop. Should India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other countries in the region meet the World Health Organization requirement for air pollution, their populations would live between 2 and 5 years longer, saving several billion life years over the combined population. Nearby China, with a similarly massive industrial base and population, has managed to reduce pollution by nearly half between 2013 and 2021, with the report highlighting proper government action, ability for the relevant ministries to generate air quality data, and a political drive to combat air pollution. Capitalism as a system doesn't care for health or the environment. It's a contradictory idea predicated on infinite growth on a finite planet. Its only goal is profit, and as much profit as possible in as short a time as possible. Cleaning up pollution would save billions in long-term health costs down the line, but capital isn't interested in that. Through never-ending profit-seeking, especially in overexploited countries with heavily corrupt comprador elements, environmental and health regulations can be delayed or outright blocked. The only solution is a dedicated economic plan and the political will to establish and maintain efforts towards cleaning up the air and all other environmentally affected sectors. US President Joe Biden is set to visit Vietnam next month to discuss technology, the economy, and regional stability. The move aims to strengthen ties in the face of China's influence in the region. During the visit, Biden will meet with top Vietnamese officials, including the Communist Party General Secretary. The US is focused on improving relations with the country it decimated and committed horrific war crimes against within living memory, aiming to turn it into a strategic partner, especially in the context of strained US-China relations. In a comically hypocritical move by the Polish conservative leadership, the country has filed legal challenges to overturn 3 major EU climate policies, citing concerns about social inequality. Of course, they only remembered social inequality was a thing when the EU started talking about the climate. They also claim that emissions targets threaten energy security, and carbon market reforms could lead to job losses and inequality. Expect to see more reactionary right-wing forces using the plight of the working man as populist propaganda to push their backwards economic and social policies, which, in the long term, will heavily burden the very same working class they're pretending to protect. South Korea has announced a significant increase in financial support for Ukraine, with an aid package the equivalent of $394 million planned for the next year. This marks an 8-fold increase from this year. South Korea remains a US vassal state, and the US will continue to bleed its supposed allies dry to fund a war that benefits no one but the ruling class. Wagner's leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has been laid to rest in a private funeral in St. Petersburg, according to his press service. The ceremony was held in his hometown, and those wanting to pay their respects have been told they can visit the Porokovsko cemetery. Russian officials confirmed Prigozhin's death after analyzing genetic data from bodies found in a plane crash near Moscow on August 23rd. The Russian state has denied any responsibility for the crash, despite speculation. Prigozhin, who had often been considered a dead man walking due to his involvement in a failed mutiny in June, was allegedly among 10 people who died in the crash. Uprisings continue across Africa, with Gabon joining the wave of anti-government revolts which have rocked the continent. The leaders of the Gabon coup have claimed that President Ondimba is under house arrest, and one of his sons has been arrested on charges of treason. The coup leaders announced the arrest on state TV, also mentioning that the president is attended by his family and doctors. Heavy security presence has been observed on the streets of the capital. Despite past French intervention, experts suggest that France is less likely to interfere this time due to a modernized foreign policy. A French mining group has halted operations in Gabon for the time being. Meanwhile, China has called for the safety of President Ondimba to be ensured, urging parties to resolve differences through dialogue and restore order. And to finish with some positive news, rapper Eminem requested conservative businessman and Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy to stop using his music during his presidential campaign, which he's done repeatedly. Republicans often get called out by artists for using their music, which, while inconsequential, is always very funny. Conservatism isn't cool, it isn't countercultural, and it's great to see artists point that out. That's all for today. We'll be back day after tomorrow with more news. If you'd like to see longer episodes with more in-depth analysis, consider becoming a patron so we can grow and expand.